It's an overcast Sunday morning, the 15th day of October, 2006. Calvin Castine on Route 22 in the hamlet of West Chazy, just a little ways away from the Four Corners, just a little south of there. And we are entering into this building, a former church location, now the home of the Fraternal Lodge 155 Free and Accepted Masons. And we're here for a dedication ceremony, and hopefully we'll find out a little bit about the history of Freemasonry and get to meet the New York State leader, Neil Bidnick.
Give it a half a chance.
That's right. You all set, Calvin? Well, let me see. We're talking to
Andrew Ewart.
E-W-A-R-T. And your title, Andrew?
I'm the District Deputy Grand Master of Masons in Clinton District.
Okay.
I'm the senior Grand Lodge officer in this district.
How would you describe what's going to take place here today? What's going to happen?
Well, what we're doing through the dedication is actually committing the building to use as a lodge. And it will be dedicated by representatives from the Grand Lodge, including the Grand Master. And it's somewhat like we would consecrate a church. You know, that we're dedicating in this case, not consecrating. But it's really intended to make it official that this is a lodge building. But lodge buildings can be used for a whole array of purposes. Other groups can meet in it, you know. And this has happened over the years at different, like Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts, but they need a meeting place. Lodges are a logical place because you've got a big room downstairs that they can use, you know, and they got a kitchen. So you've got something that serves the community. And that's what this whole thing's all about, really.
Okay. Now, tell me a little about the facility we're in here. It's quite a history behind this.
Right. This building was built in 1847, and it was a Methodist church up until, I would say, 1973. I believe that's the correct date. At which time the congregation decided to move themselves to merge with the First Methodist Church in Plattsburgh. Then, at the same time, Northern Light Lodge, which was across the street, had been trying to deal with a building, an ex-school building, becoming more and more decrepit and more expensive to keep from developing real problems. So they sold that and moved across here and leased this building. And they were here for 12 years. At the end of that 12 years, they were informed by the church at Plattsburgh that Plattsburgh wanted to sell the property because they didn't want to be in the landlord business and taking care of it and so on. So they did sell it, and it was sold to I think it's called the Champlain Valley Christian Association, which is now located down on Route 3 in Plattsburgh. They sold it to us last year. We closed on the deal in September of last year. So the building has really never been empty. It's always had somebody using it. At least if there was any emptiness, it was a very short period of time. So, you know, and when we encountered it, we just said, thank God, because we had been looking at other spaces throughout the county, and none of them would fit. It would require tremendous expense to get them renovated for what we needed, such as a room like this, and a dining facility, you know, and so on. So we felt that the price is right, the place is great, we're going to buy it, and we did. And we've had to do a number of things to get the place up and going. We recarpeted it, painted everything, and we have put new flooring in the dining room, and we've dug a deeper well. So, you know, we're in business. And
You're all set.
But it's a work in progress. Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to be doing this for a couple of 3 years before we are at a point where we think because we've got to tackle things like handicapped access for the second floor. So that we've got several members who have leg problems, and we need some kind of a gadget that will bring them up to the second floor. We need to also develop access to the dining room, because you've got steps. If we try to build a ramp inside, the ramp would stick way out in the middle of the room. So what we're thinking of, thinking of doing is cutting a door in the back of the building at the dining room level and putting in a ramp that leads up.
Sure.
And that would take care of,
Well, now, how many members do you have, and are you looking for new members?
okay, our gross membership is 160. But about 45 of those live within traveling distance of the lodge. Our regular attendance is around 17 to 20 will attend lodge on any given day. We meet first and third Wednesdays and twice a month from September through the first Wednesday in June. And they're active, and we're working now to try to figure out which programs would fit the hamlet of West Chazy and would be effective elsewhere, like child ID. We have a child ID program which has become very technically advanced. Now we can do the whole thing on an individual child by computer, and it's compatible with police computerized information, whereas our immediately prior program wasn't. It all would have to be re-entered into their thing. So we've got that whole thing, and we've added things like fingerprinting and so on to the
Well,
thing.
education is a part of the
Right.
of the Masons program.
Right. All of our symbols and our ritual are geared toward educating, reminding us of what our goals are as Masons, as individuals, and as a group, and what our attitude should be to the world outside of the walls of this building. And that's why we have been working so hard in the last decade or so to get people more familiar with who we are and what we're all about and what we're trying to do as a group.
You'd like to see new members come in?
Oh, yes, definitely. I think that Masonry as an organization, the tenets of it, are the kind of things that we would all like to see within people. And the best way that we see doing is by coming here, becoming a Mason, and practicing with us those tenets in terms of serving the community and serving each other. As you well know, we have a large medical care campus down in Utica that takes care of all stages of life. And that's just one of our objectives. We have a program that's called MSAT, and what that's intended for is to train teachers on how to recognize and manage students at risk. Potential alcoholics, potential drug users, that type of thing. Grand Lodge pays for everything. The only expense to the school district is the substitute.
So so after your inauguration ceremony today, you're ready to roll here.
Right. Well, we've been rolling, getting ourselves organized and gear, and facing the fact that we're a new lodge in a new community, and we are trying very hard to let people know who's here. And it's working. We had an interfaith service down at the First Methodist Church in Plattsburgh, and then they came up here for breakfast, and we met the firemen, we met dignitaries, and a lot of local people, and it really went well. And I think we gave them a pretty good impression as to who we are.
Very good.
Yeah, and membership, yes, quality men. We're looking for them, and our hope is to make them even better quality through their membership here.
Very good. Thank you very much, Cal. I'm sure. Let me ask you, just you're on the road a lot. Why are you here today?
Well, today we're celebrating what we call a dedication of a new Masonic building in West Chazy, New York, and it's an honor and a pleasure to finally start doing those again.
Okay. And now, I read a piece in the New York Times about you folks. I don't know how accurate it was, but it
Very
seemed
good. It's very close.
It seemed quite good. It's been sort of under covers for a long time, and you're breaking out a little bit now, looking for some new members and wanting folks to know a little bit more about the lodge.
Masonry's never really been hidden. A lot of times our members because certain groups in the public do not understand what Masonry is all about. So we weren't openly broadcasting that we were here, but we've been in every small town in America for centuries, and now it's just a time for us. The media has come to us, obviously, because of National Treasure and the Da Vinci Code, and we've accommodated them by explaining to them exactly what we are.
And just what would you like the public to know about you folks?
Well, besides what you've probably already heard from the people you've interviewed about our Child RD program, our MSAT program, our Masonic home, our camp for kids in Woodgate, New York. In this jurisdiction, we also are very, very proud of our Masonic Medical Research Laboratory, which is the #1 basic biomedical and genetics research laboratory in the world when it comes to arrhythmias of the heart. We've also done extensive work most recently into SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. And we want everybody to realize what you see around the room here, in everything, what we post on the walls, we're not afraid to show everybody that we're truly an educational institution. It's a lifelong experience in Masonry, and we try to teach our members as many different things as we can.
Now, you say education. What type of education?
Well, in our basic Masonic teachings, we talk about the liberal arts and sciences. We talk about architecture. As you see, there's a G in the east, and that talks about geometry. If you look at the two pillars to the right side of the room, you'll see one has astronomy, one has geography. The pillars themselves talk about architecture. If you look on the wall over here, we have many of the different things that we teach our members about life and how a person should live their lives.
And simply put, what is that?
What is a simple way to explain the way a person should live? We have 3 basic tenets. One, that a member, when he comes knocking at the door, a potential member, must believe in the Supreme Being. He must believe in the immortality of the soul, and he must understand the fact that we're here to do good for one another. We're here to protect one another in times of trouble and needs. If our members or somebody is ill in a family and they need help, if a member passes away, we take care of the widow and his children. And we're also now, in particular, doing a lot more for the world around us. Our Child RD program, our MSAT program, our medical research laboratories, not only for our own members, it's for the community around us. And that's our job, is to serve them.
And there are still some secrets within the society.
Yeah, there's secret handshakes, there's secret modes of recognition, our passwords are secret, but the teachings and what we do are not secrets. Never have been.
And you're looking for new folks.
Always. Always. Every fraternal organization is.
They are. They're true. Even the fire department.
That's right.
Now, how are you going about that?
Well, you mentioned the New York Times article. That was the first time Masonry has appeared on the front page of the New York Times in its history. Good stuff, for once. And we're going about it by not publicizing to come join us, but we're doing more in the area of public relations, explaining to everybody the things that we do. Our Child ID programs are publicized. Our MSAT program will be more publicized. The work at our laboratories, you'll see in the next year and a half, as we approach our 50th anniversary of that group, we will publicize it more to the public about what we're doing.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, come and join us. Come and see what we're all about, and come see that this organization is not a cult, it's not a religion, it doesn't have any secrets. And despite what they're trying to find out about us, I don't think the Knights Templar have a big treasure that they share. What we tend to share is our great teachings and our charitable works and all the people you see in the room here today.
So you, all the business in about the Knights Templar and the movies and the books.
I'm a Grand Master, and I don't know where the treasure is except for in our membership. So if there is a treasure, I'm looking for it also.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Real pleasure.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was Jack LeDuc interviewing, firstly, Andy Ewart from Rouse's Point, who is an officer in the local and regional. He is treasurer of the local fraternal lodge, and I believe has an office in the regional. He's district. Here we go. District Deputy Grand Master, and also the second gentleman that Jack LeDuc interviewed was the Grand Master of New York State, and his name is Neil I. Bidnick. Shortly we'll have the dedication ceremony, and as part of what is happening here today, there'll also be a history provided by Andy Ewart, and that'll take place in this area. But the stations are set up here in this meeting hall, and I'm sure there are members of other fraternal organizations who are very familiar with different stations at different locations. For many years I was involved with the Woodmen of the World Fraternal Order, and for a few of those years we met in at Rouse's Point Knights of Columbus Hall, and their stations were set up exactly as were the Woodmen of the World stations, and I think if you compared them with the Masonic stations that are set up here today, there would be a lot of similarities. So a lot of different fraternal orders, but there are some basics that are ingrained in all of them. Once again, this is Sunday, the 15th day of October 2006. We are awaiting the noon building dedication ceremony at Fraternal Lodge number 155, Free and Accepted Masons, at 7692 Route 22 in West Chazy. We'll take you briefly through the program. The welcome will be by Craig Cashman, invocation by David J. Williamson. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Craig Cashman. God Bless America will be sung, and that will be led by Andrew Ewart. Introduction of Fraternal Lodge officers will be done by Craig Cashman. The history of the Fraternal Lodge, as we mentioned, will be done by Andrew Ewart. Introduction of the Grand Line will be done by Kurt Ott. The dedication ceremony will be led by the Most Worshipful Neil Bidnick. At that point, after dedication, they will break for a meal on the first floor. We're on the second floor of this building. And at 3 o'clock, the Most Worshipful Neil Bidnick, the Grand Master of the New York State Lodge, will be given his Grand Master's address, and that'll be followed by a benediction by Pastor Steve Lone. We're not sure how much of this we will cover, if we'll just be leaving after the dedication ceremony, or if we'll be sticking around for the meal. We haven't decided that part at this point.
Good afternoon, everybody. Craig Cashman. On behalf of Fraternal Lodge, we welcome you all here to our building dedication. It means lots to us, and especially means exceptionally a lot that we have a full lodge room and have the honor of having our Grand Master and his Grand Line officers here. We've got a couple of changes in the program, so if you do have a program, that's good, but don't follow it. So, at this point, I'll turn it over to our Master, Worshipful Joe.
Most Worshipful Grand Master,
Sisters, brothers, and friends, the most worshipful Neil I. Whitney, Grand Master of Masons in the state of New York, is about to enter. Brothers, ladies, and friends, the most worshipful Neil I. Whitney, Grand Master of Masons in the state of New York, Grand Honors.
My brothers, ladies, and guests, I bring you the fraternal greetings of the permanent members of your Grand Lodge, and I'd like to welcome you here today. It's very rarely that we get to dedicate a new lodge building in our jurisdiction, so we're extremely happy that you're all here to join with us. Brother Grand Marshal,
Most worshipful Grand Master.
please escort the Deputy Grand Master to his station. Escort the Senior Warden to his station. Escort the Junior Warden to his station. Our Grand Chaplain to his place in the lodge. Our steward to his place. And our Master of Ceremony to his place. Let no man enter upon any great or important undertaking without first invoking the blessing of Almighty God. The Grand Chaplain will lead us in prayer.
O eternal God, impartial giver of all that is good, we praise and thank you for the bountiful blessings which come to our lives and to all mankind through the institution of Freemasonry. Grant that our fraternity may always remain a ray of hope and peace in the midst of a perplexing and changing world. We pray that the dedication ceremony of this lodge building be hallowed by your divine presence, and that its officers and members present today may be enlightened by the solemnity of the ceremony that the Grand Master and the Grand Line officers will conduct in their behalf. We beseech you to touch our hearts and minds, that we may work together for the betterment of our lodges and our beloved fraternity. Amen.
So moved it be. Join me in pledging allegiance to the flag of our country.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Anybody want to try this out? I don't know. Worshipful Master. Everybody please be seated, and for the ladies present today, please do not feel obligated to rise and be seated every single time that we call the Masons to order. We leave that to you.
Most worshipful Grand Master, the Brethren of Fraternal Lodge number 155, being animated by a desire to promote the honor and interest of the craft, have constructed in this Masonic building for their convenience and accommodation. The building itself and the room in which we are now assembled, and the plan by which it has been constructed, having met with your approbation, we are desirous that this lodge building be now solemnly dedicated to Masonic purposes agreeably to ancient uses.
Worshipful Master, the officers of Grand Lodge are greatly pleased to express to you and your brethren the heartiest approval of this new lodge building and all of its appointments. You and your brothers are deserving of the highest commendation for this evidence of your deep attachment to the interest of the craft, and pray that all who may come after you, and who shall be privileged to assemble within these walls, may emulate your example and display equal, if not greater, zeal in the furtherance of our fraternity. At this point, we're going to return to the original program that the lodge has prepared, and I call upon our Master of Ceremony to please continue with the history of the lodge itself.
At this point, I call on our Right Worshipful Hewitt to give a PowerPoint of the history of Fraternal Lodge 155.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to recount to you how Fraternal Lodge came to be and how it ended up in this building located in the hamlet of West Chazy, New York. We will also somehow and somewhat describe the history of Freemasonry in Clinton Masonic District, otherwise known as Clinton County. Fraternal Lodge resulted from a consolidation of 3 lodges: Clinton Lodge number 155, Northern Light Lodge number 505, and Champlain Lodge number 237. The name of this consolidated lodge is a combination of a new name and the retention of the number 155, which belonged to Clinton Lodge and is the oldest of the 3 lodges. Now let's review the history of Clinton Masonic District. It's a history that is similar to that of other fraternal and service organizations. Many years ago, there were as many as 9 lodges. You see this impressionistic view of Clinton County. There was a 10th lodge located right down here in Peru. It was started in 1860 and it merged with Clinton Lodge in 1870. So it didn't last all too long. It was good for a decade. Actually, the lodge merged with Kiso. That's probably my old notes. Now, I want to show a picture of the lodge buildings that these lodges used. You can show that. As you can see in the upper left, that is Osceola River Lodge. That is their present lodge building. This is the building complex that Champlain Lodge used up until 1994. This church was where Chazy Lodge, I believe, held its meetings. This building is 83 Oak Street, as we always refer to it, and it was the Masonic Hall. It is now the New Jerusalem Baptist Church. This is the building at Mount Hermon in Ellenburg, held their lodge, and then they owned that building. This building is in Moores. At the time that Mount Horeb Lodge met on the second and third floors of that building, it was a hardware store to start with, and then became Manette's Furniture Store. And that's right at the intersection of Route 2 and 22 and 11 as you go north. Here is where Northern Light used to be before they came to be here. And again, there was another lodge called Plattsburgh Lodge, which in, let me see what my notes say. Plattsburgh Lodge. It really isn't that important which date it actually, but I think it was
1898 or 99 to
1957. 1957, right. 1957 is when it merged with Clinton Lodge. And this is the building known as the Geddes Block in Dawson's Point, where Lake Lodge held its meetings up until sometime in the early 1900s, and it merged with Champlain Lodge. Now, this lodge, Champlain Lodge, in the 1950s, was a combination of itself, Mount Horeb, and Lake Lodge. And if you show the next slide, please, and show you what happened to that situation. The three lodges combined, we now have 5 lodges in the mid-90s. Mount Herman and Elbert was still in existence. Champlain was the combination of 2 other lodges forming itself. Northern Lights here. Clinton was at 83 Oak Street, and Our Table River was at its lodge building in Keys.
And Chazy Lodge, where had merged?
Who had merged with Northern Light, that's why it disappeared. It would have been right about there. Yeah, that's true. And the site I mentioned, Northern Light Lodge being in this building. They came into this, they were in the wooden schoolhouse saw up until 1973. And in 1995, they sold that building and
They moved over here in 1973.
1970, they moved over here, but the building was still in existence.
That building is the video store across the street with the pop station on it.
Oh, okay. No wonder I didn't write it down. Anyway, Northern Light was here for a period of 12 years. Then the First Methodist Church in Plattsburgh, which gained ownership of this building when the congregation merged with it, they also turned the building over to the First Methodist Church. In 1995, they were advised and made a move down to Clinton Lodge in Sonic Hall because the Plattsburgh Church decided that they wanted to sell the property. It was becoming a problem for them. Now, at this point in time, Champlain Lodge sold its buildings in 1994 for the reason that finances and taxes and the age of the buildings mitigated against keeping those buildings going. They were decaying faster than we could come up with the money to keep them alive. So we gave them up and we rented space in the fellowship hall of Three Steeples Methodist Church in Champlain. And in about the same time period, Clinton Lodge and Northern Light, who then were meeting at Oak Street, decided that they had to sell their building because of finances, taxes, and a maintenance program that was outstripping their ability to pay for it. So they gave that up, and they moved into the basement of the DAR building, sort of the American Revolution, in Plattsburgh, at 50 Oak Street. And, being in the basement is just sort of being in a cave. So it wasn't the most pleasant. Finally, in 2003, due to dwindling meeting attendance and dissatisfaction with the quarters they were using, 3 lodges entered into discussions about possibly consolidating. A committee was formed that drew up a consolidation plan. Okay, yeah. These are the locations. As you can see, everything was moving to the lake. The lodges are becoming tourist-oriented. Actually, it's just the way things worked out. Those things occurred. A committee was formed. We have the okay. And they drew up a consolidation plan that was approved by the members of all 3 lodges. A set of bylaws was drawn up, and accepted by the lodges. And all of this resulted in the consolidation petition going to Grand Lodge, which on November 20th was approved. We received a letter from Grand Lodge dated on that date saying that the Fraternal Lodge number 155 was granted its charter. Now, we continued to meet in the basement of the DAR building, but that was already the lodge from Clinton Lodge and Northern Light Lodges, so Champlain moved into that situation. Well, some of our active members are taller than I am. I'm only 5'5". They were around 6 feet tall. But it just so happened that being in the basement of a building, you encounter large segments of the plumbing belonging to the building, namely pipes suspended from the ceiling of the basement. Well, I'd like to show you this next slide. What happened when their heads met up with those pipes and they forgot that the ritual became a little bit distant. And then we had a sump pump, which was a real joy. The noise of the pump being pumped out of the thing, out of the sump hole, and the aftermath, the gurgle, which sounded like an elephant clearing its throat, didn't do much for our attempts at maintaining proper decorum in the meeting. After a few months of all this, all agreed we needed to find some place to rent or buy if rent wasn't going to be feasible. After a month or two of searching by the building committee, it became obvious that renting just wouldn't do it. There simply wasn't any facility available other than the DAR building that would allow us to have a space to call our own. So the committee began its search for a property to buy. Now, they ran into a number of buildings, all of which were available for purchase, but one of them was the former office building of an engineering firm, which had been carved up into small spaces, and the heating system was right smack in the middle of the building, which meant when we paid the price of that property, we would then have to spend as much as that price to renovate the building so that we could have a hall like this, kitchen facility, etc. So it was just done in the picture. And there was also a former daycare center up here on Route 9 that had big rooms, but they were all in the wrong place. And the price was too high. So we gave up on that one. Not to be dismayed, the great architect of the universe realized we were having a problem, and he took pity on our situation. One of our members, Ritual brother Jerry, saw an ad in the paper about this building being for sale. So we checked it out. We found that the group that was selling it, the Kavanaugh Agency, they just outgrown the size of the building and wanted to build a place of their own, so they put it up for sale. So if I can have the next slide. And this is the building as we looked at it when we first came to see it. The price was right. The upper chamber had been renovated to fit the needs of the church group, but only needed a minimal change to bring it up to shape for our needs. So here we are. Work was started immediately to reestablish the master station and the west. They were no longer existed, so they had to be rebuilt. They had removed the two upper steps from the east, and it was just one flat level there. And the west disappeared entirely. There were no steps at all, so we had to rebuild that. Then the carpeting was laid. And this is a view of the lodge as a whole, showing the new carpet. And if you look at the raised portion around the periphery of the floor, you will see there are little grids here. Well, that's the heating system. That was already in place here. Downstairs, we again had the ideal situation of these ugly-looking round tubular heating ducts hanging from the ceiling. Well, this gentleman over here, worshipful brother Carr, was trying to hide, and it's not going to work. devised a way of moving those ducts down into what you will see down in the dining room. It's a duplication of this, only it's seat high. So he has the heating ducts in there on both sides, and so the heat comes into the room and it's able to rise and to heat it. And he did some painting too. He did a good job. He was a contractor, engineer, and doer of great things when we first got started. And also, we laid new floor down. It's that pellet flooring, interlocking, added stuff. You walk on and it looks like it's real. Down there, and it really could take a beating. Because we've already tried to do some damage to it. But it cleans up very nicely. We moved into this building after we finally closed on it in September of last year, when we held our first meeting in our new quarters in November of 2005. Now, our sisters, wives, Miramichi, chapter number 477 of the Eastern Star, began to meet in our lodge room since January of this year. And they did that primarily because of the difficulty that membership was having in making up to the chapter room, and the fact that it was small and it really made it difficult to carry out ceremonies. And so they moved in, and at our invitation, and we were glad to have them on board. Now, we're very proud of this new situation, and we're enjoying the novelty of being a new lodge in a new community. The former Northern Light Brethren have a feel of nostalgia because they're returning home. They were here for 12 years, and now they're back. And if you'll remember early in this program, we mentioned that each of the three lodges had given up their former facilities because of financial demands. We're sure you're wondering why we seem to put ourselves in the same position we were in before consolidation. While there is strong evidence that owning a building can provide and prove financially demanding, we felt that the need for a facility that provided for the proper atmosphere for our meetings and affairs far outweighed that. We are, however, better situated and prepared to ensure that so long as this structure proves to be maintainable, we will remain here. Meeting attendance is good. We've added 3 members since the lodge was started. Our trustees are pursuing a number of building improvement projects. There's the dining room I was talking about. You see the, right to the right of that square encompassing that's on the wall. We're thinking about the possibility of putting in a handicap access door with a ramp that leads up gradually to the parking area on the south side of the building. This is the dining room that you see downstairs. Go ahead, next slide, please. Now here are the areas that need work. You can see that the staircases do have windows in them, but the upper portions are dark. And one of these staircases is being looked at in terms of putting in a chairlift, two-piece chairlift for handicapped brethren and members of Miramichi chapter, and if some organization wishes to hold meetings that they want to use that second floor, then we have that access possibility. The picture of the front door is because we need to put handicapped access there. So we have 3 areas in which handicapped access has to be taken care of. And it's going to be a slow but ongoing process. This building is a work in progress, and it will be such for 2, 3, maybe 4 years from now. But we're working earnestly to try to make that as short as possible, because we'd like to make the building people-friendly for all conditions of people. And you can see the 2 wings of the kitchen, which is in serious need of improvement. I don't think any of us thought that. And let's face it, ladies of Miramichi chapter are excellent cooks. And you sure want to make sure they got the right kind of equipment, prepare those meals, and we dearly love to indulge them. And that's one of the driving forces about the kitchen. And they have made it known that they would like to have an improved kitchen, which they will work assiduously to equipped in terms of tools and so forth. Totally, we're going to have to come up with proper refrigeration, more space, proper range to cook on, and so on. And when you look at see the stove there? That's nearly an antique. At least it's operating like it is an antique. So we're working on these things, and it's keeping our trustees busy. They had a nice little adventure starting on Tuesday. We came to have a committee meeting for this affair and discovered we had no water. We hired a plumber to come take a look at the situation, and he said that for some strange reason, your well is not capable of refilling itself in short of less than 90 minutes. Now, the well originally was 40 feet deep. It's a shallow well. And the pump was 4 feet above the bottom. The well would only fill itself to 6 feet. So that meant there was only 2 feet of water above the pump. Now, the rule of thumb for pumps to deliver is 1.5 gallons per foot of water to pump it down into the water. You can imagine how quickly 2 feet of water disappeared. Now, I always pictured a well as being something big around like this. It's a pipe this big. So, it's not really a wide, like you see in motion pictures where somebody throws a dead body into a well. That's not the kind of well. So, using their organizational skills and enthusiasm for the project, they managed to get a well drilling outfit here. And on Thursday, was it Craig? Thursday they completed the drilling? Correct. Yeah. And then flushed it out to clear the water, and then charged it with a good shot of chlorine to kill any bugs we managed to put in there. And we showed up yesterday to get this place ready. Everything was working fine except the men's room. There was no water in the men's room. Terrible situation. Actually, we were all men there looking at this thing saying, it's not working. So, thankfully, our junior warden, Christina, is pretty handy with plumbing, etc. And he kind of devised the plan of attack. He said, well, the pipes, and you're getting some dribbling out. Let's check the faucets. And the valve provides water to the toilet. He did that. He took about 3 or 4 ounces of silt out of each one of them. Just for plugging things up. So, and that restroom is the first thing that gets water directly pumped into it. So it picked up that silt and it plugged it right up. Yeah. So, you got that fixed. And here we are. So in closing, we'd like to say that we are looking forward to a bright future as a new lodge and as a new member of the West Chazy community. Our Grand Lodge sponsors several community benefiting programs such as child identification, blood bank drives, providing free training for educators in the management of students at risk, and a host of others. We'll try to provide as many of these for this community as we can, given that we are still small in number. Also, we are open to discussing arrangements with other organizations in the area, any community group who might need some place to hold their meetings. And we can come to some kind of arrangement. So the last slide, please. Thank you for accepting Fraternal Lodge number 155 at 10 a.m. and Member Chief Chapter number 477 or the Eastern Star as your new members. We are people who are helping good people to become better people, working with the community for the betterment of all. Thank you.
While Bobby's putting away the screen, I'd like to ask our Grand Marshal to come forward and please introduce our ladies
Grand Master, sisters, brothers, and friends, we are delighted to be with you this afternoon on this dedication of your new home. And we are pleased that several of our Grand Lodge and Grand Line members can be with us this afternoon. I'd like to introduce to you our Senior Grand Deacon, the Right Worshipful Alfred Diaz, and his wife Vida. Our sits in the wrong chair.
I did it on purpose.
You did that on purpose. Our Senior Grand Warden, the Right Worshipful Dennis Prahaney, and of course, our Most Worshipful Grand Master and his wife Joyce. We are also very delighted to have members of the Order of the Eastern Star with us this afternoon. The Most Worthy Priscilla Ratburn, Grand Matron in 1983. Delighted to have you.
Thank you.
The Most Worthy Ruth Howe, Grand Matron. We're very happy to have you with us this afternoon. And to our host, the Right Worshipful Joe Heath, who I had I don't know how many emails and how many phone calls, but we're here and we're delighted to be with you this afternoon and we're looking forward.
It's our pleasure. We thank you for being here.
Thank you once more very much.
This is our Grand Marshal, Kurt Ott, who also has the privilege and I guess the honor, or I don't know what, maybe he's a glutton, but he's also our Grand Lodge Convention Chairman, so if you have any last minute details for next May, come and ask him. And I'd like to also recognize Marty Heath, the wife of our past president of our laboratory board of directors, and our district supervisor, advisor, whatever the immediate past Grand Master called him, his lady, who have done a lot for this area and for our Grand Lodge. Oh, past Junior Grand Warden and all those. What else? Has been a past district deputy, et cetera, et cetera. I want to thank our district deputy for putting that little presentation together. We went to the Grand Lodge Library this week and we asked them for all the information about Fraternal Lodge, and we got one little piece of paper that said November 2005, and that was it, 2003. So we do thank you for that presentation. We do want to also thank everybody for coming out this afternoon to be with us while we do this ceremony. It's a rather unique ceremony, and we hope that you enjoy it. The ceremony usually began when we would normally come into the meeting room, as we did earlier. And we're going to pick it up where we left it off so that we could facilitate the program that the program chairman and the worshipful master put together. So, Right Worshipful Brother Junior Grand Warden, make announcement to the brethren present, whose name it is that we as Freemasons do honor most. Declare the first purpose to which this lodge building is to be dedicated, and explain some of the principles which we exemplify in this ceremony.
Most Worshipful Grand Master, brother, the first duty of Masons is to God, because he is the creator and the ruler of all things and the giver of all good. His name should never be absent from our minds, and all our doing should be with an eye to his glory, his praise, and his approbation. All our ceremonies are intended to promote a reverence for him, and to impress upon the novitiate the duties owing by man to him. They are begun, conducted, and ended to the glory of his great name. Therefore, in accordance with immemorial custom, this lodge building is to be dedicated in the name of the great Jehovah. Freemasonry summarizes within itself all those good purposes to which this lodge building is to be devoted, embracing within its tenets virtue, charity, relief, brotherly love, and affection, and above all, constant and reverent service to the Supreme Architect of the universe. The institution of Freemasonry is itself the compendium of all the purpose to which the lodge building should be dedicated. Therefore, not only will ancient craft uses be followed, but the utmost propriety be observed when we shall dedicate this lodge building to Freemasonry in the name of the great Jehovah.
Right Worshipful Grand Marshal, prepare the symbolic lodge for the ceremony.
Almighty and ever glorious and gracious Lord God, Creator of all things and Governor of everything that thou hast made, mercifully look upon thy servants, now assembled in thy name and in thy presence. Bless and prosper all our works begun, continued and ended in thee. Graciously bestow upon us wisdom in all our doings, strength in all our difficulties, in the beauty of harmony and the holiness of all our communications and work. Let faith be the foundation of our hope, and the charity and the fruit of our obedience that thy revealed will. O thou preserver of men, graciously enable us now to dedicate this house, which we have erected, to the honor and glory of thy name, and be mercifully pleased to accept this service at our hands. May all who shall be lawfully appointed to rule herein, according to our constitutions, be under thy special guidance and protection, and faithfully observe and fulfill all their obligations to thee and to the laws. May all who come within these consecrated walls have but one heart and one mind to love, to honor, and to fear, and to obey thee as thy majesty and unbounded goodness claim, and love one another as thou hast loved us. May every discordant passion be here banished from our bosoms. Here may we meet in thy presence as a band of brethren, created by the same almighty parent, duly sustained by the same beneficent hand, and traveling the same road through the gates of death. May we here be thy holy word, always present to mind. And here may religious virtue, love, harmony, and peaceful joy reign triumphant in our hearts. May all the proper work of our institution, which may be performed in this house, be such as thy wisdom may approve and thy goodness prosper. And finally, O thou sovereign architect of the universe, be graciously pleased to bless the Masonic craft wherever dispersed, and make them true and faithful to thee, to their neighbors, and to themselves. And when the time of our labor shall draw near to its end, and the pillars of our strength decline to the ground, enable us graciously then to pass through the valley of the shadow of death, supported by thy rod and thy staff, to those mansions beyond the skies, where love and peace and joy forever reign before thy throne. Amen. And the word of the Lord came to Solomon, saying, Concerning this house which thou art in building, if thou wilt walk in my statutes, and execute my judgments, and keep all my commandments to walk in them, then I will perform my word with thee, which I spoke unto David thy father. And I will dwell upon the children of Israel, and will not forsake my people Israel. So Solomon built the house and finished it.
Most worshipful Grand Master, in the dedication of lodge buildings, it has been the immemorial custom to pour corn upon the symbolic lodge as an emblem of nourishment. I therefore present this vessel of corn to be employed by you agreeably to ancient craft usage.
In the name of the great Jehovah, to whom we all honor, glory, and praise, I, Neil I. Bidnick, Grand Master of Masons in the state of New York, do solemnly dedicate this building to Freemasonry. May the spirit of righteousness, as the corn of nourishment, ever be vouchsafed to those who shall minister at the altar of this lodge. The Grand Marshal. Grand Marshal.
Brethren, Grand Honors.
Right Worshipful Senior Grand Warden, to what other purposes may this lodge building be dedicated, and in whose name?
Most worshipful Grand Master, from the very earliest days it has been the custom to dedicate Masonic lodge buildings in the name of the Great Jehovah. But for centuries, the custom has been to dedicate them also to the memory of the Holy Saints John. And while Freemasonry does within itself embrace and inculcate all virtues, yet as our ritual oftentimes displays one object lesson and then another to teach the same truth or emphasize the same instruction. So it has long been the custom among Freemasons to emphasize the teachings of the craft by dedicating this lodge building to virtue.
For he cast 2 pillars of brass of 18 cubits high apiece, and a line of 12 cubits did compass either of them about. And he made 2 chapiters of molten brass to set upon the tops of the pillars. And the height of the one of the chapiter was 5 cubits, and the height of the other chapiter was 5 cubits. And the nets of checker work and the rites of the chain of work for the chapiters which were upon the top of the pillars, 7 for one of the chapter, and 7 for the other chapter.
Most worshipful Grand Master, wine is the emblem of refreshment, having been used by our ancient brethren in the dedication and consecration of their lodge buildings. I, therefore, present this vessel of wine to be used by you on this occasion, agreeably to ancient craft usages.
In the name of the Holy Saints John, I do solemnly dedicate this building to virtue. May the fountains of his strength flow in perennial streams as oil of refreshment and as the wine of refreshment to inspire the hearts of those who labor in the vineyard. Amen.
Brethren, Grand Honors twice.
Right Worshipful Deputy Grand Master, make known unto the brethren the significance of the third element of consecration and dedication.
Brethren, Freemasonry is neither bound by geographical lines nor circumscribed by race, creed, or time. All Freemasons, whencesoever they may come, so long as this lodge shall work, will here find welcome and brotherly greeting. Within these walls will be taught the doctrine that hath made of one blood and all nations of men for to dwell on the face of the earth. Wherefore all men are brethren, children alike of one Father, and members of one family. It will here be taught that whatsoever destitution exists, there also it is our Masonic duty to relieve. For though we are reminded that brethren are especially to be considered, nevertheless every entered apprentice has impressed upon him the duty of affording relief to any deserving member of the human family. Even as our ancient Grand Master Solomon, King of Israel, in his prayer of dedication upon the completion of the grand building, invoked divine blessings not only upon the children of Israel, but also upon all the strangers from foreign lands who might thereafter turn their faces toward Jerusalem. So Freemasons have ever dedicated their lodge buildings to universal benevolence in the name of the entire fraternity.
And Solomon stood before the altar of the Lord in the presence of all the congregation of Israel, and spread forth his hand toward heaven. And he said, Lord God of Israel, there is no God like thee, in heaven above or on earth beneath, who keepest covenant and mercy with thy servants that walk before thee with all their heart. Who hast kept with thy servant David my father, that thou promised him. Thou speakest also with my mouth, and hast fulfilled it with thine hand, as it is this day. And therefore now, Lord God of Israel, keep with thy servant David my father, and thou promised him, saying, there shall not fall thee a man in my sight to sit in the throne of Israel, so that thy children take heed to their way, and they walk before me as though thou hast walked before me. And now, O God of Israel, let thy word, I pray thee, be verified, which thou spoke unto thy servant David my father. But when God indeed dwell on the earth, behold, the heavens, even the highest heavens, cannot contain thee. How much less this house that I have built? Yet have thou respect unto the prayer of thy servant and of his supplication, O Lord my God, to hearken unto the cry and to the prayer which thy servant prayeth before thee today. That thine eyes may be opened toward this house, night and day, even toward the place of which that thou hast said, my name shall be there, and thou mayest hearken unto the prayer which thy servant shall make toward this place.
Most worshipful Grand Master, I present for your use, according to our ancient custom, this vessel of oil, an emblem of that joy which we are able to diffuse through the world, and which should animate every Mason and bosom on the completion of this important undertaking.
In the name of the entire fraternity, wheresoever dispersed upon this terrestrial globe, I do now solemnly dedicate this lodge building to universal benevolence. May the oil of joy be diffused upon all those who are distressed, and may those of that of our fraternity who labor here be inspired to such deeds of benevolence as shall prove a constant joy to all mankind. Amen.
Brethren, Grand Lodge Honors Price.
Grand Chopper.
And may the Lord, the giver of every good and perfect gift, bless the brethren here assembled in all their lawful undertakings, and grant to each of them in needful supply the corn of nourishment, the wine of refreshment, and the oil of joy. Amen.
So motivated. My worshipful Grand Marshal, make the proclamation.
In the name of the Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of the State of New York, and by the order of the Most Worshipful Neil I. Bitnick, Grand Master, I proclaim this new Masonic building belonging to Fraternal Lodge number 155, dedicated to Freemasonry and virtue, agreeable to ancient craft usage, and in ample form. In the name of the Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of the State of New York, and by the order of the Most Worshipful Neil I. Bitnick, Grand Master, I proclaim this new building, Masonic building, belonging to Fraternal Lodge number 155, dedicated to Freemasonry and virtue, agreeable to ancient craft usage, and in ample form. To the glory of the great architect of the universe, in the name of the Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of the State of New York, and by the order of the Most Worshipful Neil I. Bitnick, Grand Master, I proclaim this new Masonic building belonging to Fraternal Lodge number 155, dedicated to Freemasonry and virtue, agreeable to ancient craft usage, and in ample form. Brethren, grand honors.
Traditionally, at this part of the ceremony, we turn the program back to our worshipful master for a program, but I was advised that we will all adjourn downstairs for a dinner being provided by the lodge.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will be some hors d'oeuvres downstairs before the dinner.
There you have it, the dedication of the new home of the Fraternal Lodge 155 Free and Accepted Masons on Route 22 in West Chazy. Thanks for watching, and for those of you who support Hometown Cable's continuing efforts.